I have stated many times I don't like modern science fiction. And yet, I keep finding modern science fiction that I do like. So, Christopher, if you're watching this, you, according to the internet, live over in Paradise Valley. So I'm sure you're in Bozeman often. If you want to come over and say hi, I'm right here. And you can also sign my book. Welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. This is Chris. This is the book. Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. And while discussing Fractal Noise, got myself a La Croix. Alrighty, so Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right. Christopher is most often known for his Aragon series. Let's see, there's a different name for it. The World of Aragon. Aragon, Eldest, Briesinger, Inheritance, and then The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, Tales from Elegrova, Volume 1. I don't like Aragon. I'm going to be completely out there. I do not like epics, and I do not like fantasy. However, I saw Fractal Noise. You can tell by the cover. Definitely not fantasy. And I heard that he's a great writer. And since it's something that's more up my alley, I thought I'd pick it up. I have stated many times I don't like modern science fiction. And yet, I keep finding modern science fiction that I do like. Let's get into it. What is Fractal Noise about? Fractal Noise, it follows Alex Crichton as he's a crew of the Adamura, a ship going on a routine exploratory mission. They keep going to stars, trying to see if there's anything habitable or profitable, and they come to this other solar system and find one of the worlds has a hole, and the hole is huge and is perfectly circular and is pumping out repeatedly some sort of EMP, is that the word? Pulse that makes a noise that is considered a fractal noise. Whatever that means. A fractals are basically in mathematics where you look at something at a certain range and you see the pattern in it. But no matter how much you zoom in or zoom out, the same pattern exists. My favorite example of fractals is measuring the coastline. I'm originally from New Hampshire, and New Hampshire has the shortest coastline of any state that actually has a coastline. There's other I'm in Montana. Montana doesn't have a coast. We're not next to an ocean. But for all the states that are next to the ocean, New Hampshire is the shortest. How long is the coast? Depending on where you look up, it's 13 miles, or it's 18 miles, or it's 28 miles. And it's all because of how you measure it. If you use a small measuring stick, you can get into all sorts of nooks and crannies, and you can take a space that's this big, and you can go like this, and with a space of 1 mile, you can measure 3, basically. How that works with noise, I sort of understand. I don't really know what that would sound like. But apparently, this planet is acting like a big speaker, shooting out this fractal noise that's making it so there's super strong wind constantly. How do we get there and get to the hole to explore? They don't want to shoot anything at the hole. They don't even want to measure it with lasers, because obviously someone or something created this and they don't want to be seen attacking it. So how do we do that? And due to some reasons that sort of make sense and kind of don't, they decide we're going to land about as close as we can that we feel is safe in a lander, and then 4 people are going to walk, pulling sleds, and they're just going to walk to the hole, walk into the wind. And once they'll get to the hole, they'll explore it, they'll put sails on these sleds, and ride the sleds all the way back to the lander. So it'll be very easy to move away from the hole, very hard to move towards it. And very early on, bam, there they are. Alex is moving towards it. And as the book goes on, this group falls apart. Madness ensues. People end up dead. All sorts of crazy things. But that's not really what the book is about. If I told you, here's a book, it's about people who land on a planet and walk towards a hole on a big featureless planet, except for this giant hole, that probably would not pique your interest. And most of the negative reviews I saw online of this book is because that's how they read it. And that's not how you need to read this book. This is a book about a man, Alex, who is wrestling with the universe. He does not know what to do. Alex got married. His wife died a very violent death to a tiger mole. Humans colonized this planet, and it's a dangerous place to live. And because it's a dangerous place to live, she died. He's completely torn, on the edge of suicidal, and he's like, I need to run away. I can't do this. So he goes and he joins this exploration team. He makes good money. He gets away from his old life, and first he wrestles with what's going on here. People want to visit this hole. I think it's stupid. Why would anyone want to go and walk for miles and miles and miles and days on end to a hole? Why would anyone want to do it? That's stupid. Let's leave. Other people better equipped can do this. I don't want to do it. It's foolhardy. And then he realizes if his wife was here, still alive, and with him on this trip, she'd want to do it. She thinks adventure and exploration are great things. He's a little more of the, hey, that doesn't seem like a smart idea kind of guy. So I appreciate that. He's more of a, let's not be stupid, guys. Let's think things slow and carefully. And so he joins the crew. And he first is one of the first people to say no. And then he says, when they said, okay, we're going to do it, he volunteers. And he's like, well, if someone's going to do it, you should let me do it. He's a xenobiologist. He studies life. Other life forms on other planets. And this is the first chance that humans have, because humans have never made contact with another intelligent species before. Obviously, something intelligent created this. This is his first chance to figure out what that is. He'll be the first person to do it. And he's doing it in his wife's memory. However, the crew is a mess. So the crew consists of 4 people. There is Talia. She is the expedition leader. And she is religious. She is a member of the Adispotios Orthodoxy, a heretical Roman Catholic sect that emphasizes the inescapable suffering of material life and rejects the concept of a compassionate God. Instead, believing Christ's travails on the cross led the deity to become fierce and unforgiving. In this view, one's purpose in life is to praise and elevate God with no expectation of further reward, but with every fear of damnation. Sects formed around the blah 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 blah. It controls her life. Every action she does. She's a true believer. Then we have Pushkin. Every person, man, woman, child, or ship mind, ought to have an answer to suit their sense. Otherwise, why might as well be a fleck of dust floating on a current of life. I say enjoy life while you can. Universe is dark and dangerous place. Of that Miss Indelicato and I agree. But is beauty and pleasure too, and pleasure in beauty. If nothing matter and everything chance, then only reasonable response is to take enjoyments where you can. That includes pleasures of mind as well as body, even if means certain temporary discomforts. Pushkin kinda is an existentialist. Life has no inherent meaning. Because of that, seize the day, have pleasure. Live your life in order to have a good life. Chen, the third member, is Talia will suggest something. Chen will be like, oh, maybe, I don't know. Pushkin will say something. He'll say, oh, maybe, I don't know. He's just very lost, very uncertain, very naive about these philosophical topics. He just lived his life, did his job, didn't think about this. Then we have Alex, who states, I'm not sure if anything really matters. And we're in Alex's mind. And we can see he doesn't think that. He's broken. He lost his wife, and his wife was his life, and now without it, he doesn't know what to do. First, he was running from his old life, and then here he is, trying to grasp, and he's just wrestling. I guess wrestling is probably the best word for it, and throughout the book, you see him. Life happens to him on this trip, and he just keeps going and going. After walking for miles and miles, with pulling things with his shoulder, the sled with his shoulder, cracked open his shoulder, and he's able to go and heal it up himself because he wants to keep on pushing. He gets blisters on his feet. He keeps on pushing. He has a tooth literally explode. He keeps on pushing. Life keeps happening to him, and he just does not give up. At the end, right when they are almost at the hole, they're 4 clicks away, a fight breaks out between Talia and Pushkin. And Pushkin, being stronger, goes and takes a rock and beats her to death with the rock. And then he goes after everyone else as they go and try to stop him. Alex is able to grab a hold of, it's a bolt gun, I think, and is able to stop him and kill him. But Chen, who at this point was already injured and could not walk and was already being dragged, gets even more hurt. He's barely alive. At this point, Talia and Pushkin are dead. These 2 strong beliefs, these 2 strong characters are dead. Chen is so injured, and in the fight he gets more injured, and every movement he does, he's just hurting himself more, and is stopping Alex from being able to help him and carry him and put him on the sled. So Alex goes and knocks him out with some sedative. Alex is all alone. He's like, I don't know really why we're here, but I'm going to walk these last 4 miles. And he walks closer and closer. At a certain point, he can't walk anymore, and he crawls. And he approaches this hole. And, of course, the hole was a speaker. So when they first landed, it was just a gentle thumping. And as they approach, it gets louder and louder. Probably the reason that Pushkin was pushed to madness and killed Talia and attacked everyone else. And Alex goes, and as he's crawling towards it, everything breaks. All of his electronic equipment, have weird implants in their head, those all break. So he's not able to record anything. It's just for him at this point. And he's like, I'm here, I gotta do it. And he crawls to the edge of this giant hole. I think they said it's 50 kilometers around. It's perfectly shaped, perfectly smooth. The edge is a perfect 90-degree angle so much he doesn't hold on to it for fear that it's going to be sharp enough to cut through his glove. And he looks down and he sees the hole, he sees the void, he sees the abyss. And he's so broken. He wants to end everything. He thinks about ending everything, about throwing himself in there. Maybe he'll learn something. Maybe he'll get something that no one else has gotten. Maybe he'll hit the ground so hard, or the EMP blast will blast him into the wall, and the death will be quick death. And he wants to escape. What was the point of their suffering? Why should he endure it? Selfishness wasn't the answer, and God or gods hadn't touched him, which left him with nothing to hold on to, nothing to keep him from giving up and stepping away from the game. Jump. He staggered upright, ready to do it, and the fall wouldn't be bad. A minute or so of free fall, then he'd either hit or the EMP would tear him apart. He spread his arms and leaned over the edge of the hole, allowing the wind to support him. Below him was nothing but the matte plane of the wall, and, past that, the black emptiness of the twisting void. He wobbled as he struggled to maintain his balance. He had to get the timing just right or he'd end up hitting the wall, and even at that final moment he couldn't let go of his fear and his pain, couldn't stop his mind from racing at a frantic pace. He looked to the sky. High above, a spark of light inched across the dome of the heavens. He squinted, wondering what it was. A moment later he realized that light was the Atamura, carving its curving path around Talos 7. Had he really been up there on board that celestial visitor? Had he once flown instead of crawled? He barely remembered what it was like on the Atamura. It felt as if years had passed, but for the first time he missed it. A painful sense of wonder filled him as he stared at the shining star of a spaceship, and his heart ached at the fullness of existence. It's all so beautiful. He thought of Chen, still lying in the sledge, wounded, alone, waiting for him to return, and Alex hesitated. If he jumped, Chen would die. Was that what he wanted? To commit murder by inaction? To remove someone else's chance to live and find meaning in the universe? Alex's breath caught as he struggled in an agony of indecision. It seemed monstrously unfair that he was the only one who could help Chen. Why couldn't he just go, or let go for once, and be free of the horrors that had tormented him from the moment he'd received the fateful call that marked the end of before and the beginning of the joyless now? Why? And the book ends. Despite it all, Alex smiled. That was okay. He was willing to put up with the discomfort and the inconvenience. He was willing to try. Now, the science fiction in this book, there's not a whole lot of it, besides they're on a different planet and they have implants in their head. There's a little bit about him. When his wife died, she willed him all of her memories. They have chips implanted, and all of her memories are given to him so he can actually go and visibly see them, watch the recordings. Besides that, there's not a whole lot of sci-fi. And the question about the rest of it, about going on a journey with a group of people who you don't really know that a whole lot or don't like a whole lot, and things falling apart. Not really super original. Or wrestling with the universe. That's the oldest question. And you see different ideas. From nihilism to the existential carpe diem to buying into a fundamentalist religion, to just completely ignoring it. You get all sorts of different views that are all very modern. They're also ancient. Maybe the specific forms that these thoughts are more modern, but all of these ideas have been gone back forever. And Christopher Paolini did a beautiful job of taking all of those and putting it together in a way that I keep saying I don't like slow books, and this is probably the fourth book I've read this year and reviewed that is slow, that I love. It is. This might be the slowest, where the least happens. It's just a guy wrestling inside of his own mind. Memories come up, there's a few arguments, and yes, at the end, some people are killed. But most of it is just people walking. It reminds me of the verse, the Bible verse. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Except here, Alex, he's walking through the valley of the shadow of death, but he has no comfort. No one there has any comfort. Talia doesn't have comfort. She has will and determination. That's what this book is missing. I feel as if Christopher, while writing this, is right there. Right at the edge. And instead of grabbing onto it, he's found hope, Alex has, in the book. One is the hope for Chen. He states at one point, he has no hope in the universe, in the abstract, but when it comes down to concrete, he cannot be the agent of Chen's death. He cannot, by killing himself, allow Chen to die. He holds another life in his hand, and he's not willing to extinguish it. And at the end, in memory of his wife, who would have wanted to go and to learn everything there was, he thinks, okay, this is what I can try. Because we'll be able to come back with better equipment, better equipped, and we'll be able to learn more. Which is a good enough hope to keep you from killing yourself, and I appreciate that. But I feel as if Alex, and maybe Christopher as well, I'm not sure, I think you hear the real gospel, the real hope, and maybe that'll give them the comfort that they need walking through that valley. He finds some comfort, and he's not willing to let go of the light. There's definitely a lot of biblical allusions in this book. It is a beautiful book. Fractal Noise. If you see it, pick it up. If you know Christopher Paolini, tell him that I need his autograph and he needs to make more like this. I'm going to pick up the other book in this series, but from what I see, it's a big story in a big world, which I do like. I do like big stories in big worlds. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna, of the fantasy stuff, but make more like this, Chris. Please tell him. And if you are watching this, Chris, make more of these and come say hi.